Well, guys and girls, this was supposed to be the Glacial Behemoth video. And that's still coming, by the way, so don't worry or anything. But some big news broke, and I felt like I had to address that first before I could move forward with any sort of regular, normal, Evolve gameplay. And I'm sure if you're watching this video, most of you know that development on Evolve officially ended. And that means that 2K basically said, we're done. And as far as I know, that was their choice, and they withdrew, I'm guessing, funding, and took back their IP, and said no more. So Glacial Behemoth marks the end of Evolve. The Halloween crates mark the end of Evolve, and there is nothing more coming to the game. This also doesn't bode well for the game coming to consoles. 2K, in their message, made a point to say it could, but I'm guessing it's not going to. I don't know in what way or how that would happen, but my guess is it doesn't, which stinks. But I don't want to focus on anything negative in this video really at all, because as sad of a day as it is, it's also a glorious day, because it marks sort of the completion, the coming full circle of what I think is still the most next-gen game this generation. And I wanted to recap my thoughts on the game, my thoughts on the whole life cycle, how I first came upon it, sort of tell that story and take you through the now years that I've been playing Evolve. And it is one of my favorite games of all time. And I think that Turtle Rock Studios created a new IP and a new type of game, and both of those things are very bold moves. But doing both of them together is just madness. And the fact that it worked as well as it did is almost a miracle. And after Left 4 Dead, Evolve, anything Turtle Rock does from here on out, I will be trying. I will be buying, and I will be playing, because those guys and girls know how to make super fun, innovative, unique, and awesome games. There is something about Evolve that I have not seen replicated anywhere else. And the same could almost be said for Left 4 Dead when it came out, because it began sort of its own kind of genre of game. But let's focus on Evolve here. I had been following Evolve for a little bit of time. If you know, originally it was going to be a THQ joint, and then 2K picked it up once THQ fell apart, and I'd been following it a little bit. Oh, there's this game about monsters and hunters called Evolve, and then I was excited to see it at E3 2014. And I got a message from my network, Machinima, and they said, hey, there's going to be an Evolve tournament at E3. Would you want to be a part of it? And I was like, man, I have wanted to play Evolve, so this is perfect. I can play in the tournament and get hands-on time. I was a little nervous because I'd never done anything in a tournament style. I didn't know any of the other channels that were participating, and I was running late that day. So I got there at E3, and I was running late, and I was with Chilled Chaos, Z Royal Viking, and Jobless Garrett were my three teammates. And our team captain was Brian Walton at that time from the Nerdist, because it was a partnership between the Nerdist and Evolve. And I got there late, and so they're like, hey, we've already picked our roles. And I remember telling my brother at E3, like, the only thing I don't want to do is be medic, because I know that's the most important role. And so I get chills just thinking about this, because this is legit my favorite video game experience in my life. Like, no joke. So I got there, and they're like, you're playing medic. And I was like, you've got to be freaking kidding me. So I sit down. Remember, I've never played the game. I sit down, and I'm playing medic, and I pick Lazarus, because this was back, there wasn't, I don't even think there was many choices. They were showing off Lazarus, and Kraken was being debuted for the first time. They'd already done press previews with Goliath, I believe, and it was legit like the most fun thing I've ever done with video games. The atmosphere of the tournament was insane. The fact that it was being live shoutcasted up on the big screen. There were people watching live. We played against a super douchey, I'm not even going to mention who it was, and there was like some bickering going on, and I was just kicking butt as Lazarus, and we had this epic match where Daisy saved us, and we ended up winning even though we thought we lost. It was so freaking cool. And I remember feeling like so proud when they were like talking about Ghost Robo on Medic doing such a good job with Lazarus and rezzing people. Lazarus was pretty OP back then, by the way. But it was like so much fun, and it just set the stage for what has now been 2.5 years of Evolve play. After that moment, I tried to play Evolve every chance I got. We were supposed to actually finish that tournament because it didn't end. We got to the final round, and things were so hyped, and it had taken so long and so much back and forth that E3 was over, and the lights were off, and the power was cut, and we couldn't finish it. We were supposed to finish it for these trophies, and we never did, which to this day, I still wish I had that medic trophy because it was a super sweet trophy, and I don't know what happened to those trophies, but I wish I had that trophy. Anyhow, so I wanted to play Evolve whenever I could, and I had the chance. 2K invited me to fly up and play Evolve, and the rest was kind of history. I played a ton of it. I recorded so much, tried out all the monsters, all the hunters. Back then, it was just the 2 monsters. I remember going and playing Wraith. I remember going and playing Behemoth. I remember going and playing Gorgon. So much fun. My brothers were into it. My friends were into it. Not a lot of people other than that were into it after it came out because unfortunately it had this very unlucky press cycle from the start where people were pissed off about the DLC, about the content, about the characters being locked. Again, maybe they made some wrong choices. They definitely could have done things a little bit more streamlined, and they probably should not have, put so many of their eggs in the DLC Season Pass basket. But regardless, the game is freaking phenomenal, so I didn't care. I was never one to buy skins. I bought every skin in Evolve, not because they told me to, not because they asked me to, but because I legit loved the way that the monsters looked, and I wanted every iteration. It was kind of like my version of collecting Pokemon cards. I did that when I was 10, and now when I was 25, I was playing Evolve and making sure I had all of the skins, whether it was the freaking Jellyfish Wraith skin, or the Voodoo Kraken skin, or the Bog Goliath skin, and eventually some for Behemoth, some for Gorgon as well. Just so cool, and the experience of playing that game, especially as Monster, is something I always dreamed of. I remember being very small and playing Mario 64 and wanting to be Bowser, and you never could. Like, eventually you could in Mario Kart or in Mario Party, but it wasn't the same because Bowser was just like Mario, except he had a tail and he was slower and stronger. But he wasn't massive, and I wanted to play the Bowser from Mario 64, who was huge. And I remember him being even bigger in Mario Sunshine and thinking, gosh, I legit, you can ask my dad and my brother. I would always tell them about how I want to play a game where you are the boss going to defeat the hero. And Evolve was really the first realization of that fantasy for me, and I absolutely will stand by that game till the end of time as one of the coolest creations video games have ever seen. I got to play in some other tournaments. I played in an online tournament, made friends that way, played in a real-life, quote-unquote, tournament at PAX East, which was an insane experience. We underperformed. I played with Prodigy X. I played with Game Sager. And it was super fun, just an absolute blast, and that community, both on the 2K and the Turtle Rock side, were fantastic. I met my favorite PR people through Evolve. I met some of my favorite developer people through Evolve, and all of them really wanted nothing but the best for the game. And I can tell you really honestly that nobody was trying to pull one over on anybody. Nobody was trying to do anything except get this great game out there and do what they felt was best, and they wanted it to succeed so much. I remember hearing talks before the game even came out about the plans for it and the maps and the monsters, and it just sounded so incredible. And then a few things, here and there went wrong, and it didn't achieve the popularity that it probably deserved, but it still did sell incredibly well for a new IP and a new concept. And that 4v1 gameplay, while hard to maintain over, any great period of longevity, is still so much fun to this day. And I can't tell you how many times I played on Aviary to show off cool skins. I can't tell you how many fun matches me and my brother and my best friends had. I can't tell you how, literally, the moment that Evolve Stage 2 was announced, I heard rumblings about it. I'd heard rumblings for quite a while, but when Evolve Stage 2 was announced that it was free to play, I literally was bouncing off the walls the entire day. It was such a glorious moment to bring this game back and get to play it again, and it extended my series on YouTube so much. I mean, that is my biggest, most favorite series I've ever done. Hands down. The community is fantastic. I got criticized a lot for not being very good. I remember there's a couple freaky moments where people on the Turtle Rock forums bash me for not being a good player or for shilling for the game or whatever, and then people will come to my defense, and bottom line, I was never paid, never told what to say, never asked what to say. Everything was genuine because I love the game, and I still love the game. Every video I made was genuine passion and excitement. It's my favorite game probably to commentate. I don't know that I really ever want to do any shoutcasting, but I feel like a shoutcaster when I play that game, and I love it. There's been some mad moments I've had where my like words are just flowing and freaking just fluid as fast as can be, and I'm rolling through with the monster. The player base has died down even for Stage 2, and it's a lot harder now because the people remaining are masters. But I still love it, and I love that we were able to get so many iterations. 5 waves of hunters, 5 monsters. We were able to get a bunch of adaptations, variations, and now every monster, except Gorgon, I guess, has a counter. Well, Wraith and Gorgon has a counterpart. You've got, with Elder and Meteor and Glacial. That is so super cool. Things that, I wish other games had. Ways of iterating without having to completely create new content to expand and allow for more fun and more interactivity with the game. Super cool. They even got a little bit crazy and tried to do like a single player co-op mission. They did weird game modes. It was just a really great microcosm of creativity and passion, and I think it came through so well. And they made sure to balance the heck out of that game, still correcting it up to the very end to ensure the best possible experience. And it just is. It really is one of my favorite games of all time. And in terms of uniqueness and vibe and what that evokes for me, it may be my favorite. I always say BioShock is my favorite game of all time based on the story and the environment and the world and how that made me feel, and the fact that that was the moment where I decided I wanted to have a future in video games, and basically directly led to me doing YouTube and will probably lead to whatever I do beyond YouTube. But Evolve, in terms of pure playing, I think maybe my favorite of all time. Controlling a boss monster is just brutal and glorious in every way. And, so many, again, just great moments. I made a sweet t-shirt based on Evolve, and I cannot tell you how cool it was to have that shirt in the Evolve live streams back when they started at 2K, and to see people wearing that shirt at the tournament I was in, and to see all the fans and all of you wearing that shirt and buying that shirt and being a part of the Ghost Robo Evolve team was just so freaking cool. And all the fantastic people at Turtle Rock, from Phil Robb all the way down, all of their community, all was so great to me, every single person, and had so many fun moments and memories of being at Turtle Rock or being at 2K, being in events, and getting to know those people, getting to know that community, and being a big part of it. And that was a huge honor to be sort of one of the flag bearers for Evolve. And again, it was never asked, never paid, never told. I just wanted to do it because I genuinely love this game, and I wanted to spread the good word as much as humanly possible. And, meeting Scott and DB from 2K and becoming really good, close friends with them and seeing them at tons of events, just like that game has given me so much more than a cool series and views and a t-shirt, but so much in the sense of one of my favorite moments being that tournament at E3. One of my favorite communities being you guys, the Evolve community, and some of my favorite friends I've made within this YouTube gaming world. It just such an incredible 2 years, and it sucks to see it go. It really does, because I was always looking so forward to new Evolve, and I thought we were done. I was so bummed when, the debacle with the DLC basically crushed things after Gorgon, and then out of nowhere comes this beacon from the sky, and you see the Evolve logo go up, and Stage 2 is happening, and we get all these crazy, much more creative innovations than we had in the actual retail build. You've got crossover characters, and you've got crazy sound effects and Electro Griffin and Paladin Parnell and all of this beautiful stuff. And to me, those videos are some of my favorite videos I've ever made. And it makes me wonder, should I focus more on multiplayer gaming? Should I do more series that have individual characters that I can dedicate videos to? And I don't know what those games would be, or where I would find that, or if there would be any sort of popularity, or if my likes and dislikes would even match up, or my commentary would match up. Because Evolve was literally like this perfect gem, and I don't foresee or know of any other game that will be that for me. It sure hasn't been announced yet. I mean, I love stuff like Titanfall 2. I love stuff like Uncharted 4, but those games don't have sort of the breadth of content and the depth of opportunity to really dive deeply into like Evolve does. And it's not Call of Duty for me. It's not NBA. I don't know what it'll be. Maybe there won't be anything else this generation. And so I cherish Evolve, and I treasure it, and I thank so deeply the people at Turtle Rock Studios for dedicating themselves to this game. And it had to be hard as heck to make this product you're so passionate about and then see the initial response and so much vitriol for no reason, and people aren't getting the game, like mentally getting it, because it is a hard concept. It does require skill and mental focus that I feel like a lot of games today don't. We've evolved this industry so large that sometimes it caters and appeals to the layman more than the enthusiast, and Evolve was definitely a gamer's game. And I think it received some backlash for that. But shout out and kudos to Turtle Rock for sticking to the script and fighting for what they believed in and delivering Behemoth, delivering Gorgon. I mean, these are monsters that not only mess with hunters, but they change the environment and they attach onto the environment around them. And then going a step further and sticking with it in Evolve Stage 2 and still wanting to deliver on their vision, it's incredible. I'm sad to see that epic partnership between the world of Sheer and the world of Turtle Rock be broken apart. And I definitely believe there will be Evolve 2. I'm, guessing at this point Turtle Rock is, not going to be involved in it. I don't have any insider knowledge on that or anything, but that would be my guess based on this recent news. Regardless, though, there will be an Evolve 2, and I hope it's fantastic. But I don't think that this moment will ever be recreated. I don't think sort of the innovation and illumination of this new style of game that has yet to be replicated. I can't believe no one has done anything like this. And, I think it's just incredibly remarkable, and I don't think it gets enough credit for not only being a good game, but also being a really, what I would describe as an achievement game, a game that really sets a bar for creativity, innovation, and quality, and fun. And to me, it was always pure fun. I never experienced the frustrations that some people did as Monster or Hunter. I loved playing with my team. I loved playing solo. I loved playing Monster. I loved Arena. I, played all the modes. Hunt is obviously where most of my time was spent, but I really enjoyed everything that this game ever had to offer. And I think it's, going to go down as one of the most underrated titles ever. And I hope that it is kept around. They say the servers are staying up, and who knows when that'll end. But I hope that, 10 years down the road, there's games now I listen to podcasts, and they talk about, like, oh, remember that game? It was such a blast back then. I hope in 10 years I can tell my kids, or I can tell people on YouTube, or I can tell people, in my daily life about this game called Evolve that was so cool, and they've never heard of it. 15 years even, 20 years even. And show them this game where you could be the boss, you could be the monster, and you could just tear everything up. And you were a giant spider, you were a freaking floating Cthulhu moose, you were a massive rock giant, you were Godzilla. And it was just a blast. And to retell all of those stories and just have that chance to wax nostalgic about this game down the line will be a fantastic, fantastic feeling. And I know it's going to happen. And I hope that there's a future in this franchise. I hope that game is even better. Why would we not hope for that? But a part of me thinks that this sort of, perfect blend may never be achieved, in this exact way again. And that's not to say that Evolve 2 won't be better, different, bigger, single player. I mean, man, single player in Titanfall 2 does worlds for that game. It is so much more complete of a package and more appealing of a package with that great single-player component. I mean, that game is phenomenal, multiplayer and single-player. And who knows, maybe if Evolve 2 does something like that, maybe it will gain and garner the audience it truly deserves. And you better believe I'll be there covering it, because I love that world. But I also love Turtle Rock, and I love what they did, and I love what they stood for. And as someone who has always stayed true to my beliefs and stayed true to my vision of being family-friendly, being positive, trying to do things the right way, trying to do things the honest and fair way, trying to do things the good person way, I really, have a lot of respect for Turtle Rock for doing the same and for sticking to their guns, standing by their game, standing by their project, and delivering a home run of an experience no matter the circumstances. Whatever they were given, they made magic out of it. And I will never forget my adventures in the world of Sheer and in the world of Turtle Rock. And those moments, like, another funny story, the first time we played Behemoth, he was terrible. He couldn't do anything. And we told them, like, man, only one or two people won as Behemoth the entire time. And they fixed it, and now Behemoth is like one of, if not my favorite monsters to play. So those guys are wizards, and those girls are wizards, and I cannot wait to see what kind of magic they cook up next. I could talk forever about this game, but I think I'll wrap it up there. We'll still do Glacial Behemoth. I'll still be making videos on the game. I really appreciate all that Evolve brought to me and to us and to the gaming world as a whole. But like, from me personally, as someone who has very, 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 very specific likes and dislikes taste when it comes to video games, the fact that Evolve struck such a chord with me was a really, really extraordinary moment. And it definitely makes me sentimental to know that sort of the circle of Evolve's life has come to its completion. But that doesn't mean we can't stop playing it, and that doesn't mean that Turtle Rock is going to stop making games. That just means that the stepping stones that cross the planet Sheer have reached the horizon, and hopefully there are new adventures in the distance. Guys and girls, thanks so much for watching every single video. Whether you watched 1, 100, 20, 150, thanks for being a part of Evolve and me. I loved making every single video. And like I said, my favorite community, my favorite series, my favorite game I've covered on YouTube. Ugh, it's weird to think it's done, but so is this video. All good things must come to an end at some point or another. So guys and girls, you are amazing. Turtle Rock, freaking love you guys, and thank you for creating something that genuinely had a profound effect on the last few years of my life. Until next time, everyone, drink some hot chocolate. Thanks again. Evolve, evolve, evolve. Dang, I love that game. And we will see you all later.